Truth Seekers. Welcome back. Zach here. In this video, I want to go over some of the standout moments at the 59th Grammys, things I think people really need to know about, important information. I want to begin with Morris Day's performance of Jungle Love. It was the tribute to Prince. If you don't know, Morris Day and the Time were Prince's group. Last night, they honored Prince, who passed earlier this year. You might recall that before the 58th Grammys, the big news last year was the death of Vanity, Prince's former girlfriend. After Vanity died, I put out a video saying, Prince better watch out. We might be reading about him dying next. And sure enough, he died April 21st, 2016. I was showing a year ago how Vanity was a ritual sacrifice for the 58th Grammys and how Prince looked like he was next up in line. And it didn't take much longer. It was a span of 67 days from the death of Vanity. We'll talk more about that number 67. This year, it was the death of Jerreau, Alwyn. We'll talk about the language of gematria, how the name Alwyn equals 59. And how he was the ritual sacrifice before the 59th Grammys, before Morris Day at age 59 performed. 59, important number in history, a number stamped on black people throughout history, which we'll talk more about. So we're going to cover some standout moments from the Grammys. We're going to talk about the racial coding. We're going to talk about Adele's 5 wins. We're going to talk about those 2 boys coming out with their pants down. Lady Gaga performing with Metallica. It's not all fun and games. And we're about to get into this Morris Day performance. Morris Day's performance of Jungle Love was probably the happiest moment of the entire award ceremony. They showed the audience. Everyone was smiling, dancing, having a great time. Morris Day was looking good on the stage, moving like a young man at the age of 59. Unfortunately, what people don't know is Morris Day performing that song was a tribute to racism throughout history. And if you've never heard the recording of Jungle Love, the way it begins on the album, it's no coincidence that that album or that song and its recording begins with monkey noises. And, for anyone who's black, I don't need to elaborate on the stereotype of monkeys and apes with black people. Real quick, though, I just want to play the beginning of this recording of Jungle Love, the song Morris Day performed last night. We're going to get to why this song was performed and what it has to do with racism ongoing. Here's the beginning of that song. Did you hear it? The monkey sounds. Black people in this world are often harassed by racists who make ape sounds and ape-like gestures at them. I know this from growing up in a black neighborhood, being the only white kid around, and my father got to experience this for a number of years. After he was divorced from my mother, he remarried a black woman, and more than a handful of times in the years that they were married, when they were out in public, some racist assholes would make some monkey sounds at them. Or they'd be out walking. They like to go on walks and somebody'd drive by and yell out, "What are you doing with that ape?" Anytime those things happened, my dad would always call me to vent about it because it would just make him so sick. So anyway, that's Jungle Love. Begins with the jungle sounds. That might be the excuse from the recording industry, but we know what it's really all about, and I'm going to show you how much deeper it is. If you missed the performance last night, this is it right here. Morris Day in gold. The beginning of the Prince tribute. This past Saturday, the day before the 59th Grammys, I put out an educational video about the death of Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and how the numbers 42 and 59 were stamped on them. Peter Tosh died at 42. Whole lot more. But all throughout history, the numbers 42 and 59 have been stamped on black people. This is bigger than the United States. Notice the song he performed, Jungle Love, sums to 42. The name Morris Day equals 59, plus Morris Day is 59 years old right now. Morris Day, born December 13th, 1957. We just saw Prince pass at the age of 57. Motown Records came out in 59. They say that AIDS was discovered in 1959 in the Belgian Congo. Belgian Congo equals 59. Negro equals 59. Slave 59. Blues 59. Rasta 59. Bob Marley died a span of 95 days from his birthday. The reflection, the word kill in Jewish gematria equals 59. 5 and 9, the numbers that make up 59, are the only two numbers when written out that sum to 42. 42, the other number stamped on black people. Jungle Love equals 42. The most hateful word for black people, 42. Brothers, the slang, 42. Black History Month is the only month that has 42 gematria. And February ends on the 28th day, which is the 59th day of the year. You see, 42 month ends on the 59th day. The word history is 42. So is the word Zionism and Freemason. It is Freemasonry and Zionism that is responsible for our English language and this racist coding within it. This is all part of a long planned ongoing agenda. You know, the United States of America, the English language, they rolled out around the same time in history. It's been nothing but racism in this country ever since. And it's always even been coded into our language. The most hateful word for black people in South Africa is kafir or kafir, which also equals 42. Same thing's going on over there. There's a reason Jackie Robinson, first black baseball player in white major league, wore 42. In the movie that came out called 42 about Jackie Robinson, it got a lot of criticism when it came out because they said they used the, you know what word, too much. The word that also sums to 42. If you watch the O.J. Simpson trial, Mark Furman, when he was on the stand, a woman said that he said the N-word exactly 42 times in one conversation. You can go back and watch that testimony. That was about Mark Furman, who's had a cable news television career ever since. Ask yourself, who would ever count? Can you imagine somebody listening and taking a tally of how many times it was said and then it came out to 42? It's because the O.J. Simpson trial was made for TV, part of the race war, part of the ongoing deception by the numbers. It's another story, though. The O.J. Simpson trial is completely fake. Made up characters. All lies. So here's Morris Day, born December 13th, 1957, 59 years old. Again, Morris Day happens to equal 59. Comes out performing Jungle Love. What stands out to me from his birthday to the performance is 62 days. Remember, Prince died on the Queen of England's birthday. She turned 90. That same day Prince died, they lit up Niagara Falls purple. And people were confused. They thought, what in the world? How did they already have this purple rain tribute ready for the death of Prince? And the media came out and said, oh, no. That was for the Queen. Purple, the color of royalty. Well, Vanity, who died before the 58th Grammys, Vanity grew up in Niagara Falls. That's where she's from. Prince's and Vanity's deaths, absolutely connected. Showed that before it even happened. Notice the word queen in gematria sums to 62. The Queen of England became the queen on February 6th, 1952. In the UK, they write the day before the month, so 6/2. That same year, June 2nd, 1952. June 2nd, February 6th. In the US, we write June 2nd, 6/2. And on June 2nd, 1952, the Queen had her big celebration being recognized as the Queen. She became the Queen February 6th. She had her big celebration recognizing her as the Queen June 2nd. These are special numbers. It's very interesting that from Morris Day's birthday to the Queen, to his performance yesterday, 62 days. We've seen a lot synced up with the Queen in the past year. Also, with regards to Vanity dying before the 58th Grammys, Purple Rain in Gematria sums to 58. So does Freemasonry. So does Secret Society. Think about Prince Hall Freemasonry, made for black entertainers once upon a time. Prince, Morris Day. The word Mason is also 62. We saw Donald Trump come out to Queen, We Are the Champions, for the first day of his convention, July 18th. That was 88 days after the Queen's birthday. The Queen's name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth equals 88. Trump equals 88. Purple equals 88. Trump coming out to Queen, We Are the Champions, 88 days after the Queen's birthday. From the day Prince died to this performance was 42 weeks and 4 days. Do you see the 4-2 pattern? Call it a coincidence. But this was for the Prince tribute. Jungle Love. I did a video yesterday before the Grammys began about the death of Alwyn Jerreau. He died at age 76, number of blood sacrifice. Prince born on June 7th. He died 67 days from Vanity. I talked about that number the day Vanity died and why Prince might die by it as well. And then he died 67 days from Vanity. They said this man was sick, he was in the hospital, and then he died just before the 59th Grammys. Kind of like how Vanity, they said she was sick, she was dying, and then she died right before the Grammys. Similar narrative. Vanity equals 46, like the word sacrifice. She died on the 46th day of the year last year, February 15th. So look at this. His birth name, Al Jerreau, is Alwyn. Alwyn in Gematria sums to 59, dead just before the 59th Grammys. Again, this number stamped on black people throughout history. Negro, Slave, Blues, Rasta. Bob Marley dead 95 days from his birthday. His last name, Jerreau, also has the gematria of 74, like killing, like Masonic, like Jewish, like occult, matching the day he was born, March 12th. In regards to 42 being stamped on black people, I should point out that Grammys also has gematria of 42. And I mean, just think about the music recording industry. Where would it be without black people? I mean, most of the music that's popular today, whether the musicians are black or not, was inspired once upon a time by black musicians. The entire entertainment industry is that way. The people who run the entertainment industry exploit black people, make a lot of profit, create a lot of attention, have the mind's eye of the world. And then look at what I'm constantly showing you, how often these people are being murdered by the numbers. If I was Morris Day, I'd be looking out, Just the gematria, Purple Rain, Vanity dead just before the 58th Grammys, dead on the 46th day of the year. Here's Prince's birthday, June 7th, born in 58. Vanity dead before the 58th Grammys. Special number. Prince on Purple Rain has the song I Would Die For You, and he spells it with the number 4 and the letter U. U is the 21st letter in the alphabet. For You is 421. Prince died on April 21st, you see? There was also this story, the Freddie Gray death in Baltimore. If you missed my work on Freddie Gray, I showed how that was a made-up story, a tribute to the Civil War, the division of people by race. The name Freddie equals 42. Freddie Gray, they had a story right after his death about how 42% of people in Freddie Gray's neighborhood live in poverty. Anyway, Prince had a song for that called Baltimore Song, and it came out on May 9th. May 9th, 2015. The name Tiger equals 59, like Tiger Woods, who revolutionized white golf. Tiger Woods on this same day had his worst golfing performance in history, not by coincidence, because Tiger Woods is going through an ongoing shaming for dominating the very white and very racist against everyone but white people historically sport. If they didn't destroy Tiger Woods, he would already own every golf record, you know? He was about to eclipse every record when they sabotaged his career. But anyway, this song came out May 9th, Baltimore song, one of the blackest cities in America. Baltimore equals 95. And, you know, the reflection of 59. May 9th, a date that can be written 5/9 or 9/5. Prince put out this song, and I thought that was so interesting at the time, you know? All this racial coding on the Freddie Gray story. For the record, if you didn't know that the Freddie Gray story was a hoax, and it was, when you see it on the news, when you see a major story on the news, it's almost always a hoax, a contrived story for part of an agenda. You know, black people get murdered, harassed, bullied by the police every day, never makes the news, no justice for it. So when it makes the news, you should be asking yourself, well, why is this story on the news? The reason why is because it's all part of an agenda, you know? There's many reasons, but here's what the Freddie Gray story was about. Freddie Gray was supposedly arrested on the date, let me think, April 12th. It was April 12th, 2015. And he supposedly died April 19th, 2015. What a lot of people didn't catch is in history, the Civil War began on April 12th. That happens to be the 102nd day of the year. Slavery equals 102. So does United States of America. So the Civil War began April 12th, and if you look up the history of the Civil War, supposedly it began with a battle in Charleston that day. Charleston equals 43, Civil War equals 43. Interesting that the Grammys were on the 43rd day of the year this year, which was Lincoln's birthday. Lincoln born on the 43rd day, Civil War 43, Charleston 43. But if you look up the history, that first battle in Charleston, supposedly nobody died. The only casualty was a horse. That's the way it's written in our history books. First battle of the Civil War, no one died, but it started the war. Just one horse from a cannonball. Then, the first casualty of the war is April 19th. Again, Freddie Gray was arrested April 12th in Baltimore and died April 19th in Baltimore. The first casualty of the Civil War was April 19th in Baltimore, when gray coats got in an armed conflict with protesters and shots were fired on both sides. This is the way it is in the history books. So the gray coats in Baltimore getting mixed up with the protesters resulted in the first deaths of the Civil War. Freddie Gray dead in Baltimore. Freddie Gray, gray coats, made up news, tributes to history, ongoing racism by the numbers. This is what's going on in America. Obama, a lot of people don't realize this. Obama was the 44th president, but he was only the 43rd person to be president. That's because Grover Cleveland was number 22 and number 24. He had a split term, so the 25th president was the 24th person, 26th president, the 25th person, all the way up to the president. Trump's number 45, but the 44th person. Obama was number 43. He was elected November 4th, 2008, a date with 43 numerology. From the land of Lincoln, born on the 43rd day of the year was Lincoln, February 12th. And he gave his acceptance speech in Grant Park, did Obama. Grant Park equals 43. If you write out 42 as a word, it sums to 43, which is interesting. 42 stamped all over black people. If you write out 42, it also sums to 142. President Obama equals 142. When he first became president on the 42nd day of the year, which was a date with 42 numerology, he reopened Ford's Theater where Lincoln was assassinated. The Lincoln-Obama parallels. But anyway, this is what's going on. It's so interesting that Prince participated in this ritual less than a year before he would die. He would die, the next spring, 2016. So also last night, big story was Adele beating Beyonce in almost every contest they had. Adele won 5, Beyonce won 2. I didn't know that Adele's big album this past year was 25. That made me laugh because the square root of 25 is 5. She won 5 awards in regards to 25. And the artist name Adele also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters in it. How perfect. How perfect. So Adele also, her curious moment last night was she was doing the George Michael tribute. George Michael, who's best remembered for his song Last Christmas, died on Christmas. If you missed my videos on George Michael's death, Carrie Fisher, all of that, you got to go back and check it out. But what I noticed is when she was performing, I don't know why she stopped and said she cussed and had to start over. I didn't hear any cuss. I didn't hear anything. Why didn't she just, like a professional artist, continue on, knowing that nobody's going to know the difference? Because that's exactly how it would have been. These people, these professional entertainers, they are puppets on strings, and I think there was some obscure message within that restart. And I have not quite figured out what that was all about, having her restart the song. The headlines were how powerful she was. She even had the power to restart a song in a performance at the Grammys. Who can do that? But I thought, this just all seems contrived. I mean, what was wrong with her performance? Nothing. So, her birth name is Adele Laurie Blue Atkins. And in Gematria, that sums to 83. The word Christmas is 38, the reflection of 83. She was doing a tribute for George Michael, who sung Last Christmas. What's interesting... Oops, I made a mistake here, Truth Seeker. From February, I'll just do this in real time. I put up the wrong screenshot up there. Hold on. But I will show this to you that it's the same no matter what. From the performance to is a span of 83 days. It was February 12th, 2017 to May 5th, 2017 is a span of 83 days. Just like her name, Gematria. And again, 83 is the reflection of 38. Christmas equals 38 in Gematria. She was doing the George Michael tribute. So I'll fix that. Sorry about that, Truth Seekers. There's probably a few people looked at it and said, what? February 11th? But yes, it was a span of 83 days. Here's what else I noticed. Derek, who built the Gematrinator calculator in recent weeks, he added this method on there that I had never used before, but I've been paying attention to. It's called reverse ordinal. And, we normally do A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z is 26. Reverse ordinal is just the opposite. A is 26, B is 25, C is 24. You see? It's backwards. And I've just noticed in the time I've been paying attention to it that a lot of times there's very relevant entries. And one of these was last night. I noticed that George Michael's 108. Adele, in reverse ordinal, is also 108. And I thought, how perfect, Adele leading off the George Michael tribute. So I got to start paying attention to this reverse ordinal. Derek, if you see this video, I think you should swap out the English Gematria and put reverse ordinal there. That's just my suggestion. I think this method is going to pay a lot of dividends. We just saw the death of the football player in Georgia on the 33rd parallel at age 33 in a house fire. You know what? Before I blurt this out, somebody posted in the comments that in reverse ordinal, house fire is also 137, so I just want to see it with my own eyes real quick. Look at that. House fire is 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. This young man dead at 33 on the 33rd parallel in a suspicious house fire. So yeah, this reverse ordinal, we got to pay attention to this method. This method's got some truth to it. But yeah, the more we learn, the more clear things become. So, what else was there? There was these two men coming out with the pants down. And this happens to be where I started watching the Grammys. I didn't have it on before this. I'll go back and watch the beginning. But I picked it up from right here. And when I saw these two guys doing this, I said, they're put up to this by the people who employ them and who have made them celebrities. This is symbolism for the nation right now. We are a people caught with our pants down right now. That symbolizes perfectly what America is. You know, people who are just grinding every day and not paying attention, just thinking all I can do is worry about myself, they don't see how they're approaching a cliff, a ledge. We're in a place we don't want to be as a people right now. Look at what's going on in America. Ever since September 11th happened, there's been a quality of life decline for the vast majority of people. Most people are working longer and making less. You know, we continue to abuse the world, so there's more pollution, there's more disease, there's more illness, there's more outbreaks. You know, our tax dollars, more and more of them are going to military, police, surveillance, less towards things that help us out, such as education, you know, money for grants, etc. We are where we don't want to be as a people. The phrase, to be caught with your pants down, is to be caught where you don't want to be. And right away when I was watching this, I said to my girlfriend, I said, I bet you anything there's some riddle with the band name and pants or pants down. And look at this. It took me all of 5 seconds to figure out what was going on here. This band is called 21 Pilots, right? And I didn't even know, I was like, what song do they sing? And then, you know, they went to commercial and played part of the song or whatever. And I said, oh my God, that's that fucking shitty ass song that every radio station's been playing all year. And I didn't even know what the song was called, but then they said the song was called Stressed Out. And I said, oh, perfect. You know, caught with your pants down, stressed out. You got the orange Oompa Loompa in the White House giving everybody, you know, all sorts of needless anxiety. And it's all by design. Anyway, look at this. The band name, 21 Pilots, has the same gematria as pants. And here was the next thing I checked. You always got to measure from the birthdays. This Josh Dunn, the guy who just stood up there and didn't say a word with his pants down, from his birthday to the award was 126 days. 126 days, pants down equals 126. You know, the band syncs up with pants, pants down. The man who just stood there with his pants down. This article that was written just as soon as it happened, I think on the West Coast we're watching the awards at the same time as the East Coast. Are we not? I thought it was we were all watching it together. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I noticed, I just went on the web as soon as they did this just to see if there was any press, and this article was already up, and I was like, what in the world? So maybe, I don't know, is the East Coast ahead of us? Maybe they are. I'm out here in Seattle, if you don't know. I'm on the West Coast. But this article right away just had, for a legitimate reason. I thought, for a legitimate reason. What do they got there? For a legitimate reason, 96, like Grammys. Okay, like Freemason, you know? Yesterday's date, also a date with a 51 connection, connecting to the word Freemason. I did watch their segment, and they had a nice story about why their pants were down. If you missed it, the reason they said they put their pants down was because they said a few years ago they were watching the Grammys, and they said if we're ever on the Grammys, we're going to accept our award with our pants down, because they said when they were hanging out watching the Grammys, him and their few friends, or the two of them and their few friends, they were all watching in their boxers together. And, you know, who's to say they weren't, but what group of men get together and watch the Grammys in their boxers, you know? I would bet you anything this story's complete bullshit, and I'm 100% right about what the narrative is about the pants down, really. Both of these young men are born in the year 88, and the name Trump equals 88, and that was the first thought I had. Pants down, Donald Trump the president, everything going on in this nation. From the man who spoke, it was also 74 days. The man who told the story of, you know, watching the Grammys with no boxers, and if they ever win a Grammy, they'll do it with their pants down. It was 74 days from his birthday. Special number to the Freemasons. Special number to the Jewish Zionists who run the recording industry. Special number to this nation's history. This is the exact reason our nation's birthday is 7/4, July 4th. Holiday equals 74. Independence Day equals 74. There's even more I could tell you. If you want to read this post, I'll link it below. I noticed this song came out November 2015. which sounds about right, because this song, now that I know what this song is, this is the song up here in Seattle that it doesn't matter what radio station you flip through, it's like this song's on all the time. It's like, what's so great about this song? Can't even listen to the radio at this day and age. You know, I grew up in the 80s, early 90s. The radio's never had the best music, but the radio used to be a million times better. It's like that Morris Day song. That used to be the equivalent of what was on the radio. Music that made you feel good, even though that song's racist as hell. But you just turn on these songs now, it's these songs like this stressed out, you got this feminine male singer, this shitty, overproduced music, and it just played every second as if it's some song we all need to hear. Oh my God, and now they're winning an award for it with their pants down. Give me a break. But anyway, I noticed this song's 3:22 in length, 3:22, and I said, is it a coincidence? Well, I don't think it was a coincidence, because another big highlight of the show was Lady Gaga performing with Metallica, and there was another big 3:22 tribute here, which I'll get to. If you missed my work on the rigged Super Bowl and why Lady Gaga was the halftime show, it had everything to do with the total scripting of what people witnessed. Notice that Lady Gaga equals 31, so does Metallica. In Gematria, so does Houston, where the Super Bowl just was, and Super Bowl 51 was exactly 51 days before Lady Gaga's 31st birthday. Her birthday is March 28th, 28-3. There was the record comeback of 28-3 by the Patriots, and before the Super Bowl was played, I said why the Patriots would win and why it had to do with the number 25. They had a record 25-point comeback. It was Tom Brady's 25th playoff win of his career. It was the AFC's 25th Super Bowl win to close out the 97th season of the NFL. 97 is the 25th prime. Bill Belichick equals 97. Anyway, Lady Gaga. There was also 31 unanswered points by the Patriots to win the game. But anyhow, last night, Lady Gaga performing with Metallica, a new song that they released or put out on their album on the 322nd day of the year, 322 again, number of Skull and Bones. We had the Skull and Bones member, George H.W. Bush, do the coin toss for the Super Bowl. I have a video on why it was George H.W. Bush. None of this stuff is arbitrary. All of these people are picked for a reason. One little side point about 31, Bruno Mars, big star of last night's Grammys, big star of recent Super Bowls, was also 31 years old. 31's the 11th prime number, the master number, by the way. His birthday is October 8th, 10/8. We've seen a whole ton of that number this past year, 108. In spring training last year, I said why the Cubs would win the World Series. It had everything to do with it being 108 years since their last World Series, when the tallest building in Chicago is 108 stories, when Major League equals 108, when there's 108 double stitches on a baseball, and pro sports are scripted by the numbers. Anyway, Bruno Mars, born October 8th. From last night, or from his last birthday to, from his 31st birthday to the performance last night was 127 days, which is the 31st prime number. You know? 31, important degree in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. 31, 32, 33, the significant degrees, you add them together, they sum to 96, like Freemason, like Grammys equals 96. This song last night, Moth into Flame, that Lady Gaga and Metallica performed, the song made its live debut in New York City on September 27th, 2016, which is the Jesuit Order's birthday. The Jesuit Order was huge in the Super Bowl. We had the Jesuit President Trump cheering for the Patriots. We had the first Jesuit Pope, his birthday was 51 days before the Super Bowl. We had him giving a tribute to Super Bowl 51. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, who were in the Super Bowl, born on the Jesuit Order's birthday, which is September 27th. Anyway, this song debuted on the Jesuit Order's birthday in New York City. We just saw Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, leave the United States on this date in 2015. They said the song was first played the day before, also in New York City, on the Howard Stern Show. But the September 27th Jesuit Order birthday, very interesting. Also interesting is that they then released the album with this song on the 322nd day of the year, November 18th, 322. The reason we see these numbers so often is because they're tributes to the entities that run the show. They run our nation, you know? They put people in the Oval Office. They control entertainment. They control media. They control the recording industry. Freemasonry, Zionism, Jesuits. And they always pay tribute to themselves. Numbers, dates on the calendar, all of this stuff is so significant. And with regards to this debuting on the Howard Stern Show, I never noticed before that Howard Stern Show has gematria of 93, the number used by the Zionists all the time. Howard Stern, a Zionist Jew. The word propaganda is 93. Howard Stern, agent of propaganda, always helps sell the mainstream lies. You know? His bogus September 11th testimony, all part of the propaganda. 93, one of those numbers used again and again. The reason the Patriots had 93 plays in the Super Bowl, and I was showing all season how they were getting 93 tributes. Go back and watch and learn. Prince, dead on the 93rd meridian. Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 93 on the 93rd meridian. Prince dead in Chanhassen. The word Prince equals 38, like death, like killing, like Chanhassen, like Minnesota, like Christmas. George Michael dead on Christmas. I think we covered it all, Truth Seeker. Help get the word out. People got to know what's up, you know? It's not all fun and games. It's amazing, really, when you think about it. Because when Morris Day was singing, everybody was having a good time. It was such a beautiful moment, but behind it is something really sick. And I don't know that Morris Day knows. You know, I don't know that he has any idea. Jeff Young. Jeff Young's Music Without Boundaries every Monday night. I've been on Jeff Young's radio program. If you guys don't know Jeff Young, former rock star, former guitarist for Megadeth. You know, for more than a year, I've been going on Jeff's program educating about murder by numbers. And the time we've been doing that, Jeff's seen his own friend, Nick Menza, murdered by the number 38 at the Hot Potato, following in the path of David Eagle. Go back and see what I'm talking about. You know, it was Jeff a year ago who first tipped me off about the death of Vanity. And yesterday it was deja vu because he called me early about the death of Al Jarreau. You know? But anyway, Jeff Young's program, you can go back and listen to all of our archive shows. We've been talking about all this, the racist coding, murder by numbers. There's an episode where Jeff tells a story about how he was in the airport and he saw a bunch of black men sporting gear that had their Freemasonic lodge on it, and it was number 59. Bunch of black men wearing their Freemasonic lodge with the number 59 on it. And Jeff said he was trying to tell them, and they were just laughing back at him. You know? That's what's wrong with this world. The average citizen thinks they know it all. They're not open to truth. They're condescending. They don't see what's going on. They don't see how the joke's on us. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.